do. I think the first question I would ask is, well, what are you interested in? What type of yoga do you like? Are you really, because there's physical, there's philosophical. The thing that I loved about, well, it's all together. I don't mean they're separate, but
yeah,
the thing I love about Anusara yoga for me and why it grabbed my heart is because of its philosophy and because of its methodology that is so based in alignment. And that alignment is.
Do you love Pacific Northwest as much as I do and want to show it off wherever you go? I have the best apparel for you. Go to Forever Green PNW. So that's Forever ERGRNPNW.com or on their social media and go check them out. They have the best apparel. They have sweatshirts, they have hoodies, they have tees, they have swimsuits. They've got all kinds of great things to represent the Pacific Northwest. And they also are doing something really cool, little deals with their hoodies. So go check out them. They're fantastic and have a fantastic day. Welcome to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Croc, and every Monday, I talk to someone here in North Idaho, the goal to connect more people in the Coeur d'Alene area. And then every Friday, I talk to someone outside the community to bring in a new perspective and to learn a little bit about yourself. I have Amy with me with Align Yoga Studio, brand new to Coeur d'Alene, in one of the coolest new buildings that has like everything in it. Anything from like yoga to, you guys are gonna have wine over there. There's bridal studio, there's flower shops. I mean, it's kind of a hopping spot.
Yeah, it really is. It's fun because there's a couple, like my neighbor over here, she's still moving in, and then the neighbors on the end, they're still moving in. So there's just constant activity around here. And we all kind of match each other, our businesses. So it's really fun.
Yeah, it's really really nice. Even like the color scheme. Like I've noticed like everyone's kind of got these softer colors, like nothing's like a bright orange logo.
Yeah.
This beautiful, like even the branding's wonderful.
Yeah. And it's fun. And it feels like, I was laughing with the owner over here, Tyler, the other day, because she's bringing in flowers and event planning. And so you could literally plan your entire wedding and other life things just right here on these 5 businesses. So it's fun.
Yes. And it's all like local, real North Idaho people. So it's like you're supporting local, and you're also getting like, I mean, I'm about to get married, and I wish I wish I would have had all this, because it was like, now it's all coming to fruition. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. And we're five women in business. So it's really cool.
So
there's
amazing.
A lot of support. There's a lot of synergy and a lot of love. It's a good place to be.
Yes. So Amy, give me a little bit of background of who you are, what you do, kind of like how you got to what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved to Coeur d'Alene from Seattle 20 years ago, which is crazy. And I started yoga when I was 17 years old, 18. I was going to University of Washington, and I found this really cool teacher. We'd go to this funky old schoolhouse and do yoga. And I just fell in love. And then when I moved here 20 years ago, I quit my job in Seattle, and I basically started over here in Coeur d'Alene, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a job at the time. And the one thing I had a lot of time for was yoga. And I was approached by the director of fitness at the time of this gym I worked out at. And she said, if you went and got certified, would you be interested in teaching yoga? And I was like, okay, sure. So I started just collecting certifications and started teaching yoga. And I've been teaching for 20 years now.
Wow. So, it's crazy. Good for you.
Yeah. And thank you. And then 2 years ago, I actually opened Align Yoga Studio basically in my backyard. It was a 3rd-car detached garage that we kind of last minute construction said, well, let's make this my yoga studio. And looking back, it was a nice little baby step to what I'm doing now. But also COVID hit shortly after I opened. And I had to tweak quite a bit, but because it was small and because it was part of my home, I was able to really easily regulate it. And then this opportunity came up, and I felt a lot more confident, I think, and just really ready to take this next step.
Yeah. And it's kind of like we're finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel of everything that's happening. Unfortunately, I mean, there's still craziness going on in the world, but it is nice to be like, okay, like not opening your yoga studio in the middle of a pandemic where you really have no idea what's going to happen next, that it's kind of nice to be like, okay, we know what's going to happen if something like this ever happened again. I feel like that's more confidence.
More confidence. I mean, I remember in the middle of the pandemic, I stopped teaching, and then everybody was starting to pop up on Zoom and teach on Zoom. And I thought, what the heck is that? How do you do that? And I was so scared. I remember even just that. Then I started to do it and I figured it out. And so just that piece that I learned. And now Zoom is something that we all do.
It's so great. I know. That's why I started my podcast. I was like, oh, we can do this. Like, I don't have to be in the same house as you. Like, perfect.
Yes, it did open. I mean, that's a silver lining. So
yeah, I agree. Like, and then so many people got hobbies and new talents. Like, I started a podcast. I know some people started new art. They've started like sculpting and painting and doing some of the coolest stuff. And I think that, like you said, the silver lining of the craziness.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
So then I met Amy actually at a little retreat for one of our really good friends, Bailey, and you gave me my first sound bath. Yes, and so she's part of. If you've been listening, I interviewed Holly, and she's part of these 7 sisters, and they create this like these women are very empowering and very. You guys are so light and calming. And it's probably just like it all kind of just fits really well in your realm. You got yoga, you got your 7 sisters, you do the sound baths. I mean, you just said yoga, and I was like, you girl, you do a lot.
Yeah, it's funny. I do a lot, I guess. And I've always been that way. I've always loved to have lots of irons in the fire. And I have lots of passions that really center around yoga. I mean, for me, I guess that encompasses the whole healing aspect of what I love to do and what I really feel is my calling and my purpose. Sound bowls came in close to 2 years ago now. I had gone to my first sound bowl and I just heard this little voice that said, you need to be doing these. And I was like, I need to be doing these. So I researched them and I took some trainings and I started collecting bowls. And so I will be offering monthly sound baths here at Align Yoga Studio. Yes, I will be doing that. There's actually already, I think, 4 on the schedule. So you just schedule them through Mindbody through the website, just like you do a yoga class. And my goal is to do them around the new moon and the full moon so that there's a really nice theme to these sound baths where we're releasing things that we don't need and setting intention for the things that we want to manifest. And I want them to just be a really fun thing for people to come and just 75 minutes, a little over an hour, just soak up the tones and the healing vibrations of the music. And it's a really beautiful piece of the puzzle as well.
Oh, that was my question. I was like, are you going to be introducing some of that stuff into your studio? So it's super exciting to hear that.
Yes. And then the other thing we'll be doing at the studio, in addition to all the classes that we offer weekly, are different workshops and series. And I've got lots of friends that because of their schedule, they don't necessarily want a monthly class on the schedule, but they'd like to come in and do workshops and series. So we're going to do meditation and pranayama series on the chakras. We'll do restorative yoga. We'll do, different principles of alignment. We'll do different series. And then with that, I was teaching a little while ago a restorative class. So restorative yoga is very supported by props, blocks, and bolsters, and most everything is done lying down, and it's very peaceful, lots of guided meditation. I was doing that and then incorporating sound bowls. So I would get them into these restorative poses, and then I would play the bowls as the meditative portion of that posture. And you are in that pose for 5 to 10 minutes. So you really get some good, peaceful relaxation and healing. So
yeah. And so you're located, I guess, what's your address? What would your address be if someone
the address is 2605 North 4th Street. And I'm unit 102. There used to be a building here I think it burned down. It was like a bakery or something right across the parking lot. In fact, I'm staring at their logo right now is Verizon. So we're on the corner of 4th and Apple Way, which is funny because when anybody comes to deliver, they'll call me and say, well, your address Google's as a Verizon store. I'm like, it's fine. We're here. I promise. Yeah, keep coming. So
But
yeah.
I mean, you're officially open then, because I got to go to one of your classes this
Yeah,
week.
you came to my first class.
It was so wonderful.
That was so fun.
Any other instructors, or right now are you the primary only instructor?
So I have two others. I'm super just fortunate the way that came about. I hadn't advertised for teachers yet, and I have done my Anyasara schooling at Garden Street Yoga with my longtime teacher, Karen. I'm doing my 500-hour Anyasara right now, and there are two gals, Claire and Cassie. They're graduates of Garden Street as well. They've got their 200-hour. We're all three certified Anyasara Elements teachers. You move through the rungs of this certification, but they're wonderful, really awesome women. I mean, Claire is an architect and an interior designer, and Cassie is a jewelry.
Oh, I know. I was like, I know Claire then. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cassie is a florist. She does beautiful flowers and works for a florist. They do weddings and whatnot. And she also owns Jerome Jewelry with her sister, and they do copper.
I know of her as well. Like I love their jewelry. So that's why.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And they both individually messaged me on Instagram, like, are you looking for teachers by chance? And I was like, yes, I will be. So that just was amazing.
I just talked to someone the other day how great social media is for those aspects.
Yeah.
Like they're like, new yoga studio, I would love to, do this like a couple classes a week. And they're just like, they message you instead of having to I think it's just insane.
Yeah. So right now it's the three of us, and I've had other people reach out to me, like I said, for workshops and whatnot. And it's funny, today is day 4. My first classes were on Monday, and I feel like it's been a really long week. So slow and steady. I want to see how the schedule goes and which class times are really resonating with people, and, where the need is and where the interest is. And there's always room for more. So, I'm sure, I know other teachers will come my way, and they'll be, have to be a good fit and really align with my principles of yoga and the type of yoga that I want to teach and that I want to have here. And because it's so much more about just a physical practice.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's yoga is so much more than that. I just think that's really great.
Yeah.
And she's got even great the decor in there, and you've got clothing. It's just fantastic. So if you just are you seeing a lot of traffic and stuff?
It's starting to get there.
Rolling in.
Yeah, I think, and as these other businesses open, especially the hair salon, she's pretty busy right now. She's right next door to me. And then the wine bar will be opening on the corner. And then there's also new buildings being built over here. So I know some businesses that are going in over there. So this area, I think, really is being enlivened. There's a lot of growth happening right now. And so I think there'll be just more and more exposure, which is great.
Yeah. So, I know it's exciting. I was hearing rumors of the businesses going into the other.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know. I'm not supposed to, I don't know if I'm supposed to say.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know either, but hopefully they're just going to be some cool businesses over there that is exciting for Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah. Very exciting.
But you said you've been practicing for 20 years. A lot of people, I used to do group fitness, but I didn't I didn't have to do 200 hours. I didn't have to do 500 hours. I went to a certification over a weekend, got certified, had to submit a video, had to submit every once in a while. If someone's listening and they're maybe an inspiring yoga, they're like, I love yoga. Like, what kind of advice would you give to someone that maybe wants to go into that kind of realm?
So to be as a teacher, or
an instructor, or be in any form.
So for me, it's interesting because I already loved yoga. And so I just found kind of the certification that I think I Googled, how do you become a yoga teacher? So I actually started all those years ago, 20 years ago, I started with Yoga Fit. Because I was working at a gym, and I literally took every certification that Yoga Fit offers. I went all the way through the advanced level. Then I did prenatal, postnatal, kids yoga. I did it all. And then I found a teacher, Shiva Ray. She's huge. She's in California, Vinyasa Flow. So then I went through that whole certification process. I did a lot with her. I did more prenatal with her. I did all the way up her rungs. And then I dabbled in, I mean, I did a couple weekend workshops in Iyengar and Ashtanga and just different things. And then I found Garden Street and I found Anyasara. So I think if somebody's like, well, what do I do? I think the first question I would ask is, well, what are you interested in? You know, what type of yoga do you like? Are you really, you know, because there's physical, there's philosophical. The thing that I loved about, well, it's all together. I don't mean they're separate, but
Yeah.
the thing I love about Anyasara yoga for me and why it grabbed my heart is because of its philosophy and because of its methodology that is so based in alignment. And that alignment is what connects us with spirit, with source. And we teach with these beautiful heart-based themes. So it's very inspirational. You're getting a great physical workout, but your body is basically, these poses are here to open you to something greater. The first principle in Anyasara yoga is to open to grace. So we're opening to something that is bigger than ourselves, but that is in us as well. So that, I guess my advice would be, what moves you? You know, what type of yoga do you like? You know, there's all sorts of different methodologies. And then, or is there a teacher that inspires you and that you love? And where did they get their education? And what school of yoga, you know, are they really immersed in? Or, you know, what's their school? And kind of go about that way.
Yeah. Well, you're a fantastic teacher. I didn't, our class the other day, it flew by. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's how you know you have a good instructor, is that you get done, you're like, oh, we're already laying down to like do a little meditation and chilling. Like, wait, what? How did that happen? So it was really nice. And I love how you actually, and this is probably all your training and so much experience, but to actually hold some of these poses for so long. Because sometimes I go to yoga, I'm like, wait, I want to stay there longer.
Yes. Yeah. And that is another thing I love about the methodology that we teach here, because you do hold the poses longer and you do get time to really open into it. You know, if you're holding a pose for a minute or a minute and a half, you really have time to not only physically get stronger and to open, but you have time to work through all the stuff in your mind. Like, well, wait a minute, how long is she going to make me hold this? Well, my quad is, you know, you have time to kind of like work through the resistance. Cause at first you're like, well, what the heck? Why am I still here? And then it really guides you back to the breath. And that's what we teach, is don't worry about how long you're going to be there. Just come back to your breath and be there.
Yeah, that's what I was one point. I was like, okay. And then I started shaking a little bit. And then I was like, okay, now I'm not using my core anymore. Now I'm starting to like not hold this pose as well. And so I was like, oh, and that's why I was like, oh, but then I felt really great later that day. I was like, oh, this is what happens when you do yoga and you stretch.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. I guess it's an analogy of like when we meet resistance in our bodies, or when we meet resistance like in a situation or a relationship or whatever, oftentimes our instinct is to want to pull back and escape. Like we want to find the easiest way out. And yoga challenges us to not do that and to really even just go deeper in. It's like, yes, and keep going. I mean, not in a way that you're pushing, you know, yourself to injury or anything like that, but it's like the analogy of you go through into a cloud, and the only way to get through it is to get through it. If you stop and turn around and go back, well, you got to get back. You know, you're just going to keep getting to the hard spot, turning around and coming back, and you're not going to get stronger. And I mean stronger in all ways, you know, in your body and your mind and your spirit and your breath and all of that.
Yeah. Oh, I was very relaxed after I left. I was like, oh, this was wonderful. So, have you ever owned a business before opening this?
No, I haven't. I mean, you'll laugh. I mean, my friends, my family, they tease me because they're like, oh, you have a certification in that? Because I'm certified in that. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm a certified doula. I mean, I just hold all these because I've had so much enthusiasm, just collect. And I love education. So I'm always in some sort of teacher training or whatever. And my friends are like, you already know how to teach yoga. What are you doing? You know? But oh wait, I totally forgot. What question did you ask
Well,
me?
I said, I just asked if you had like ever owned a business.
Oh, owned a business. Okay,
Yes.
so I've owned. I've done like so many like what do you call them? Like multi-level marketing businesses, where like selling the skincare or selling the clothes or I've done tons of stuff like that, but I've never owned my own business other than in my backyard.
Yeah.
So
So, I mean, and
my
now that you
friends.
have an actual studio, you're linked to many other businesses. It's a whole different level. It's kind of a level up kind of situation. And I bet you've learned a lot because this is brand new construction. It was everything. Is there a piece of advice you give to another like women entrepreneur that's about to open a business? That's kind of in your shoes, this first time like actual business owner, you
Yeah.
have a storefront. But
Yeah.
what kind of advice would you give to someone that was, is kind of starting out?
I honestly would say know what you want before you start it. I'm huge into journaling and manifestation and putting the intention out into the universe. I looked back over journals over, these last few years, and I had the name Align Yoga Studio written. I'm a big doodler. I doodle and I write and I journal. And align with the clear light of your heart. Align, I had the name already. I had kind of my vision already, and I would just daydream on it. So I would say before you even start, know, it becomes cliche, but it's like know your why, know your what, really have it kind of manifest it out, work it out, doodle it out before you even start, because then you know what you want. I mean, people walk in here and they're like, oh my gosh, I love this, or I love this or this. And it was so easy for me because I'd been working it in my heart for so long that this step was like, I'm ready. I have all the pieces in play. I'm ready. I had my logo. I had everything. So this was just like gathering together and putting the puzzle together, but I had all the pieces, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're I guess you're a local. You've been here for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Tell me your favorite go-to restaurant in the Coeur d'Alene area, or I guess even in the North Idaho area.
Oh gosh, my favorite. Well, I've been a huge fan of Syringa for years. Been going to Syringa for years. I also really love Bluebird. We go there quite a bit. I would say top of my head, those are probably
Same.
my two favorites. Yeah.
So let's say tonight you're going to go to Syringa and you can have dinner with anybody, dead or alive. Who would you go have dinner with?
Oh goodness. I think I would have dinner with Prince.
Ooh, that would be fun.
I love Prince, and he's obviously brilliant, but when you look at I really love poetry and I love lyrics to music. That's why I listen to music, because of lyrics. And he has a line that says, I'm not human, I'm a dove, I'm your conscience, I am love. When you look at a lot of his and read a lot of his lyrics, he's quite philosophical. So and plus he lived a life. I think it'd be really interesting to sit down with him.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And
So
I love music.
if someone is listening and they just want to find how to, like you said, mind body, kind of talk about a little bit of the app, talk about how people can get start trying your studio, how they can find you, tell everyone a little bit more about that.
Okay, so I have a new website, which in my backyard, I didn't have a website. So it's www.alignyogacda.com.
Okay.
And on that website, you'll find our class description. You'll find everything about the studio, about the teachers here, the class descriptions. You can book directly on the website. And then also the website links you to Mind Body. So you can search Align Yoga Studio under businesses in the Mind Body app.
I was just bringing it up. It's really
Yeah.
easy to use.
So easy. So you can book classes directly from there, or you can book them directly from the website. The website basically will launch you to Mind Body. But yeah, it's either way is great.
Perfect. Yeah. So it's been a crazy couple years as we talked about this. It's been like, we've been through a pandemic. We still are seeing a lot of crazy things. And I think, and I've talked to this about almost all my guests, is that, mentally, I think spiritually, emotional health is something everyone's trying to like really focus on, because, the pandemic was hard. Yeah. And what kind of advice would you give to someone that's maybe struggling in that aspect of their life through, this kind of crazy world we're in right now?
I think the biggest piece of advice would be, don't go it alone. I know for times in my life, I felt like I needed to be perfect, or, you can't like show your soft underbelly. I would say biggest piece of advice would be talk to somebody, whether it's your mom, your best friend, your significant other, anybody. Don't keep it in, talk to somebody. And I would also say, get involved in your community, do something good for your body, go for a walk, put your face to the sun for 5 minutes, find a great yoga class, find, a group of friends and go walking once a week. I have a group of girlfriends, and every Tuesday we go for a walk. And there are times that's the best part of my week, because I'm connecting with friends. And I would say connection would be number one. And I'm a huge proponent of obviously yoga and meditation and breath work, but also fresh air. And I'm a huge proponent of writing. So journal, get it out. Whatever you do, don't keep it in. It's gotta come up and out. You've got to find an outlet, and hopefully a healthy outlet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Or you just bottle it up, and then there's other ways.
Yeah, scream in a pillow. I teach my girls, scream in a pillow. Like there are times where it's just that you just scream into a pillow if you're having a really bad day.
Or if you go outside and go scream on top of a mountain, like that's just
or do lion's breath or other, pranayama breathing that'll help. But yeah, I would say talk to somebody, get out in the community, go for a walk, go to a class. Don't go it alone. Change your perspective or change your vantage point. If you've been inside for 4 hours, go outside, just get up, move yourself out of where you are and do something a little bit different.
I love that. So is there anything else you want to tell us about your studio, yourself, that people are listening? Feel free to say anything you want.
I first of all, thank you for having me. This is super fun. And thank you for coming to class on Monday. I think I would just like to say thank you to everybody who has sent me love, who has sent me a sweet message, who has come here to say hello. People probably get sick of me saying it, but one of my favorite quotes is, a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. And I just truly believe in that. I kind of have to pinch myself, and I look around like, whoa, I have a business. Like I'm open for business, and you can come here and you can shop and you can take classes, and I want this to become a place of community and collaboration, like I said, workshops, and people can rent the space. That's another thing if they want to, lead a class for an evening or whatever. I would just say, thank you. And I'm super grateful, and come see me.
Yay. Well,
days a week. Right now there's like 20 classes on the schedule a week. Cassie and Claire are awesome. I'm super happy to have them. And I'm just happy. I just feel very full-hearted. So
awesome. Well, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I will be back in for another class because it was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Crock, and every Monday I release a podcast about different community members here in North Idaho. And then we end the weeks on Fridays with a podcast about the things I'm passionate about: outdoors, adventures, sports, the van life, and even current events. So if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. Thank you again. Now go be kind and do something great.